The Donner Party suffered one of the most terrible and famous tragedies in the history of the American West. However tragic, it is a story that echoes in the great Sierra Nevadas of Northern California today. Every winter, numerous accidents and stranded drivers are found along Interstate 80 between Reno and Sacramento. At an altitude of 7,168 feet, historic Donner Pass still brings a sharp chill down the spine of the drivers who must challenge it daily. The story of the Donner Party also gives us insight into the essence of survival and sends a strong and simple message. When facing possible treacherous winter weather, know your route and be prepared. Drivers that must pass over Donner Summit today must be prepared. In fact, this stretch of I-80 sees the most use of tire chains by professional drivers in the United States. Whether it's Donner Pass or any number of America's roads, tire chains, when used properly, are essential tools for survival in treacherous winter weather.
Usually we stop at Applegate, where Caltrans holds all traffic, and they issue us a card, a chain card, showing what axles to chain up. And most of the time they'll tell us where we're going to chain up. So after we get to that destination, we more or less find ourselves a good, safe spot to chain our vehicles up.
Safety with tire chains begins before every driver leaves the yard during your pre-trip. First, you should always check to make sure that you have chains and that they're in good shape. Do not leave the yard without your chains during the winter season. And if you can't find any, notify your supervisor. It is also a good idea to carry a warm pair of heavy gloves. Chaining up is a rough job, but it can be made much easier by advanced preparation. Next, when you know you need to put on your chains, find a safe area. This is critical. Every year, numerous drivers are injured or killed because they pull off in unsafe areas. In many states, there are routes which require chain use under certain driving conditions, and there are chain-up pull-offs, such as on the infamous I-80 heading over Donner Summit. But whether required or not, use your best judgment and put on your chains before you get into trouble. Once you find a safe, level, flat area, pull your unit as straight as possible and set your parking brake. Then get out and look over the situation. Be aware of any potential hazards, other drivers, or icy spots. Then get your chains. Overall, there are basically two types: a dual, triple, or three-railer for use on your drive tires, and the single chain. Both types are found throughout the roadway system. When you're ready to mount your chains, begin with the drive tire. First, drape the chain over the tire, then back over them. Remember to set your brake each time you get out of the cab. Next, connect each hook as tight as possible. Connect your chain so the loose end does not end up banging against the frame. Then, with your cam lock tool, complete the final tightening process, adjusting each cam lock. After chaining your drive tires, get out your single chains and drape them over all the other tires necessary, which will vary depending upon your situation. Then back up over all of them. Once you have all your chains mounted, drive your unit for a couple of 100 yards, then set your brake, get out, and retighten each chain, and finally, attach your bungee cords. The secret to proper chain use is getting them tight on each tire. When removing your chains, the key once again is finding a safe spot. Then set your brake, get out and walk around your unit looking for the location of all your connectors. Normally, to have access to loosen each connector, you will need to make 2 or 3 short moves.
I make sure that I have enough chains before I leave. I make sure I have the clothing that I need to do this. I check my flashlight, make sure my batteries are working. I make sure I have bungee cords. All the little small things that people take for granted, it's a big thing when you're up there, because you need those things. You should always just make a little list, check off a little list, different things that you know you're going to need. That's what I do.
Finally, when facing the hazards of winter driving, keep in mind the lessons of the past and always prepare yourself and your equipment. Remember, advanced preparation in all hazardous weather is the key. And plan for safety success every day.